YMCA, I got all the alphabets right there, okay? And if you don't know what ADHD is, it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Although for me, and many others like me, the name is a bit of a misnomer because it's not like we have a deficit of attention, we just can't regulate it to save our lives. And this can affect us in many ways, like forgetting where we put our keys or our wallet or our phone, small ways like that. But it can also affect us in little bigger ways, like forgetting how to eat or forgetting when to eat. I could be going all day long without a single food passing through my mouth. And my stomach will be growling like it's auditioning for Oliver Twist, being like, please sir, may I have some more? And I'll just be like, nah, we're fine, we're good. It also affects me when I'm doing tasks because I can step into a room with a task in mind, and the moment I leave that room, my brain resets and I can't remember what I was doing. And my ADHD has caused a little bit of let's say some problems when I was in school. I was, like I said, a neurotic mess. Whew. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. There goes the ADHD again. But you know what? Now we're on the subject of school. I want to talk a little bit about what my school experience was like. And it wasn't all that bad, even though I was the weird kid throughout kindergarten and all the way up to the 12th grade. But I did have some fun times in high school. For example, during my senior year, I got really into the Spirit Week because it was my last ever Spirit Week I was going to have at that school, even though that school sucked. and I do mean that, like the ceilings were leaking whenever it rained. But I remember this one time for Spirit Week, it was fictional character or celebrity day. And for my senior year, I dressed up as a fictional character known as Eric Draven, also known as The Crow, from that 90s movie starring Brandon Lee. Nobody in the school got it. Not a single person. They all thought I was portraying a character from Dead Presidents. Now, granted, I do love that movie, but my look was nowhere near like that. I mean, I did have the white face paint and the black eyes and lips and all that, but very different between The Crow and Dead Presidents. Mismatch Day was also a very fun day for me because not only did all of my clothes not match each other, even my eyes didn't match each other, thank goodness for color contacts. And then the year before that, I was feeling a little bit lazy, and everybody had always told me that back then I looked like Kelly Osbourne. So for Celebrity Day of my junior year, I just walked around in my normal attire with a piece of paper taped to my chest and my back that just read Kelly Osbourne. And everybody got that, but they didn't get the Crow one. Another story from high school is when me and my sibling Charlie, oftentimes our bus would be running very late, so our dad would take us to school. And on this particular day, we stopped off for some coffee at a little local drive-through coffee shop. And then when we got to the school, some of Charlie's friends gave us these pixie logs. If you don't know what a pixie log is, it's like 100 pixie sticks in a big plastic tube. Just sugar. So not only are we all hyped up on caffeine and sugar from the coffee place, but now we got these pixie logs with more sugar. We were bouncing off the walls that day. I'm surprised we didn't get suspended for dancing on the tables. And now that we're on the subject of my sibling Charlie, let's just say that growing up, we had our ups and downs. And at one point, it was a little bit concerning for our mother. See, one summer, we were at our mother's apartment in Butte, Montana. And during this time, my mom was working at a place, my mom was working at Target. And every so often, we would get on our bikes or on our rollerblades, and we would walk from the apartment complex all the way down to the Target. particular day, me and my sibling got in a bit of a fight, and either I hit them with the rollerblade, or they hit me with the rollerblade. I can't really remember which, and I don't even know what we were fighting over. But the following day, my mom had won some sort of drawing at her work, and she got to choose between these 4 Cadbury eggs. You know, they were decently sized, but they probably cost like maybe $5 back then. It was either the Cadbury eggs or a really nice croquet set. My mom chose the eggs, and she had to explain the whole rollerblade incident from the other day, and say that she was afraid if she got the croquet set, she would find me stuck on the lawn with my sibling battering my head with a croquet mallet. So suffice to say, that was a pretty good choice for my mom to make with that one. Where'd my heart go? Oh, one second. Come on, you're gonna need a little bit more laughs here. Okay, this is coming to gold here. So, another thing about me is I am a huge geek, like massive. And I had the pleasure of going to my very first Comic-Con a couple of years ago. I think this was back in 2016. And for my very first Comic-Con that I can actually remember attending, I decided to dress up as a little character I like to call Dead Robin. It was a Deadpool mask and a Robin the Boy Wonder onesie. And yes, I do mean onesie, like pajama onesie, complete with feet and a cape. So I had this Deadpool mask, Robin the Boy Wonder costume, and I'm walking around this convention carrying a sign that said Thanos was right. This was right after Endgame came out, okay? So people were pressed. I almost didn't even get let in. The person that I had to check out with at the front said that my sign wasn't allowed. I'm like, why? Since when are signs not allowed at Comic-Con? She's like, no, we let signs come in, just not that sign. I'm like, no, too bad. And I caused myself a little bit of trouble at the whole Star Wars table that they had there. The stormtroopers kept approaching me every time I came up because they were also pressed about the time. And then at one point, Darth Vader comes up to me and, well, I can't really remember much after that because I was scared. All I remember is running away. And I did a lot of running at that convention, usually because I was going around playfully ticking people off, like this Michael Myers that I approached, which was also around the time that Halloween movie came out, where Michael Myers escapes from the mental ward or whatever and goes after Laurie Strode again. So, since he did not succeed in taking out Laurie Strode once again after 40 years or so, I went up to this one person that was dressed up as Michael Myers and I looked him straight in the eye. And I said, 40 years and you still can't kill a single babysitter. You're a weak killer. That Michael Myers proceeded to stalk me throughout the first half of the convention. Did I learn my lesson? Absolutely not. I did the same thing to a second Michael Myers. 5 minutes later, I see this second Michael Myers with a Pennywise, and he points at me, Pennywise looks at me, and they both start coming over and I start running. On my second day at Comic-Con, I dressed up as Charlie from Has-Been Hotel. Now this was before the actual show aired, but this was shortly after the pilot, non-pilot aired on YouTube. And I instantly fell in love with that show, just from that pilot alone. So I'm dressed up as Charlie. And once again, I have another sign that I made, and this one said, just simply Has-Been Hotel, because I'm helping to promote this new animated show on YouTube. And during this convention, I go up to every single villain, every single slasher, every single cryptid horror or eldritch horror, every single one of them, and try to recruit them for the hotel. And let's say that also did not go as well. I got a lot of angry looks and I did a lot more running. But you know what? That's Comic-Con. We have fun with that. Speaking of being a geek, I'm also a huge fan of Deadpool. So much so that I even started to eat the Deadpool pizza, which is pineapples and black olives, because that's what Ryan Reynolds had in the first movie. And then, to my surprise, my mom sends me a photo today from Safeway. She was in the frozen pizza section, and she saw DiGiorno Pizzas that was promoting the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie coming out. And guess what the toppings on that pizza were? Guess? Pineapples and black olives. So I'm like, oh yes, I finally got my Deadpool pizza in. Everybody thinks I was a little bit crazy for actually liking black olives and pineapple on my pizza. But you know what? It's a good combination. You got the sweet, you got the salty, and well, yeah, you got the sweet and the salty. Add some pepperoni, and you got some spice in there. And I was always weird about foods. I remember this one time in elementary school, we had these lunches that were like these little teriyaki beef dippers, and I always dipped mine in ranch. Everyone thought I was crazy, everyone thought I was weird, until one of my teachers came up and said that she did the same thing too. That was very nice of her. And then shortly after that, we're just sitting around doing our independent studies and whatnot, and then we had a massive earthquake. This was up in Bremerton, Washington, and I can't remember the exact year it was, but I do remember the school started shaking. We all got underneath our desks, and then one student asked, "What's going on?" And then another student replied with, "Oh, it's just a drill." I looked over at the student and I was like, "Yeah, they got Superman to come out and shake the whole school." But no major damage with that earthquake. Another memory I have from elementary school is, dang it, I lost it again. Let's see, there was the earthquake. What else happened? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. We'll get back to that later. I got more coming. I'm just need to take another minute to breathe and to drink something here.
ADHD, am I right?
Huh?
ADHD, am I right?
Right, exactly. I swear, I had the joke. We were talking about earthquakes. What else happened at that school? Or something. What the heck was it? I don't know. You know what? Maybe, one sec. I got it in my notes somewhere around here. Okay, apparently I didn't save it in my notes. Just another ADHD thing. I meant to save it in my notes, but again, I forgot. So yeah, there was Superman at the school. And I'm trying to get back on the train of thought. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm on a neurotic mess. I can't remember the dang thing now. So, now I remember. It wasn't elementary school. It was my junior high. I was in a geology class. Not geography. Geography is math. Geology is earth. Yeah, so I was in a geography? Maybe geography? Yeah. One of those classes, something like that. We were studying different features of the earth. And teacher when we were talking about buttes. She actually told the class that there was a town in Montana named after Buttes. But she said that it was pronounced Butt, Montana. I'm looking at her and I'm like, no, they call it Butte down there. And she's just insisting that I am wrong. Absolutely insistent. And I'm looking at her, and I'm thinking to myself, I really should have said this, but I'm looking at her and I'm like, excuse me, do you have any family in Montana? No? Any friends? Close friends in Montana? No. Have you even stepped foot in the state? No. Okay, well, here's the thing. I do have family in Montana, I have friends in Montana, and I have stepped more feet in that state than you can imagine. So believe me when I say we call it Butte, Montana, not Butt, Montana. And the worst part about this teacher was, the worst part, we go off to lunch, we come back. She decides to pull me aside and say, hey, I looked it up for you, and you're right, but you know what, we're just not going to tell the rest of the class. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, are you kidding me? You made me look like a fool in front of all of these peers right after I moved all the way across the country from Washington to Virginia. You're making me look like a fool, like I don't know what I'm talking about, and it's you? And you can't even have the common decency to say that you were wrong. Boo. Right? I know.
Did she even know the capital?
You know, I can't really remember if she knew the capital or not. That may not have been her strong suit because, again, we were just learning about, like, beaches and glaciers and buttes and plateaus and, you know, all of that stuff. So, probably not. But, yeah, I carried a grudge ever since then with that teacher. And that teacher wasn't the only one I had a grudge with. There was another teacher. This one, we're jumping back to elementary school because I'm going all over the place. This teacher had it out for me. But the funniest moment, at least it was funny to me, she was on this kick for me for some reason where I couldn't read any fictional books. So no fantasy, no sci-fi, none of that. I had to read nonfiction books. So I was like, all right, bet. I started reading books about different countries. I started reading books about different religions. I started reading books about, you know, different points in history. I was obsessed with nonfiction literature for a bit. Until one day I checked out this book that was about Pocahontas. You know, I wanted to find out what the true story was behind that because at that age, I knew that Disney embellished a lot. I just didn't realize how much. And I come in from class with this book about Pocahontas, and my teacher takes it from me and says, no fiction, no books. I looked at her, I'm like, I got this from the history section. Apparently Pocahontas was a real person, was a real woman. And she's like, no, this is all Disney make-believe. I'm like, who are they hiring these days? And this was in the 90s. So yeah, I had 2 grudges with some teachers back then. Another thing this teacher did that really made me mad, the El Dorado movie, you know, the one by DreamWorks, was about to come out, and I bought this book on this El Dorado promotion book from Barnes & Nobles. Didn't even get a chance to read it, brought it into school. She confiscated it. Again, telling me no fictional books. And not only did she confiscate it, the next day I found it sitting on her bookshelf with her name written inside of it. I paid for this. Right? And of course, back then my parents wouldn't really do much of anything because my dad was obsessed with his current wife at the time. And yes, she was an evil stepmother. Again, another portion of my neurotic mess can be attributed solely to her because I didn't start spiraling until she came into our lives. If it hadn't been for her, I probably would have hit my spiral in my 20s instead of when I was like 11. But you know what? I came out of it all right, I think. I'm fine. So yeah, I had to go through an evil stepmom phase in my life. I was on my train of thought again. And I lost it. So between dealing with bullying teachers and bullying parents, you know, things got a little heated, and I became obsessed with this one book series known as the Vampire Chronicles. And now that we got it on television now, it's being produced by AMC, and they got it on Amazon Prime. I am obsessed with that show even more than I was with the book. I think one of the biggest laughs I had watching that show, it was during the second season, and I think it was episode 4 or 5. And spoilers ahead, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers about the movie or about the show, cover your ears. But Louis is kind of hallucinating Lestat being around him, and at one point, Louis hands Lestat this photograph, and without missing a beat, Lestat just takes the photograph and starts eating it, and the faces he was making, oh my God. I freaking love Sam Reed. He really killed that role. And speaking of killing roles, one thing I did not expect. Anybody watch A Knight's Tale?
Yeah.
I love that movie too. Heath Ledger, oh my God. Especially in Brokeback Mountain, oh my God. But as I also said before, I'm a huge geek, so I heard about the Dark Knight movie. I was really excited for it because we were going to bring on the Joker, until I heard that they cast Heath Ledger. I'm like, the Blonde Knight? He's going to be a psychopath? Huh? I'm telling you, I was not really excited about that movie, hearing Heath Ledger. But when I actually went and did see it, I was like, Heath Ledger who? Seriously, could not see a single bit of Heath throughout that entire movie. He was 100% Joker, much better than Jared Leto. Speaking of which, they almost cast Jared Leto as Lestat. If they had done that, that would have killed the whole franchise immediately. So I'm going to wrap up my time here because I have run out of jokes, but to leave you all a little bit more information about me. I am a brain-cracked gremlin of chaos. I have hit rock bottom, grabbed the shovel, and kept on digging more than 27 times. Why 27 specifically? Because I stopped counting after that. I can be as calm as a cucumber in the face of a crisis, but the moment you add one more thing to my to-do list, I have a complete and total meltdown, okay? My brain is like 1,000 trains going off at 100 miles per hour in all different directions with all the conductors screaming and strung out on booze while narrowly avoiding collision on an hourly basis. In fact, if you were to look into my mind and compare it to, like, let's say, the number of tabs that you have on Google or whatever internet browser you use, there would be about at least 70 tabs opened. 40 of them are probably, you won't believe these these incredible or hilarious stories. I have no idea where the music is coming from. And there are a whole lot. I think there's about at least 50 pages dedicated to one video game walkthrough. Because I keep losing track. And that is only barely scratching the surface of my neurotic brain.